Good morning. It's Sunday. It's 3:50 a.m. Woke up at 3:30. We got a sprint triathlon. Sprint triathlon day. Whoa, crazy, big, amazing, crazy. Yeah, so I got everything laid out. That stuff. I got my bike, and then right now I'm gonna do some electrolytes, some coffee, eat some bananas and some dates, and then I'm gonna get on the road by hopefully 4:20 at the latest. It's about a 40-minute drive to where I need to be. Gotta be there. I wanna get there a little bit earlier too because I didn't pick up my packet yesterday. So that way I can hopefully beat a line and shit like that. So yeah, just got everything packed up. I'm going to, it's 4:18, so I'm going to start getting into the car. Started filming for the Instagram reel. I haven't posted, or I guess I just didn't post an Instagram reel yesterday, but then I didn't really film much at all Friday and didn't really film at all yesterday, which was nice, because honestly, sometimes I question a lot about posting on social media and showing all the stuff that I'm doing. I'm like, I don't know, but like I want to try to make a living or some form of a career out of doing all this type of stuff, and in order to do that, you have to post it, because then if I do it and I don't show any of it, which is nice to do and it's like a lot easier, you can't do that. You can't try to make a living out of it because no one knows. Which is nice, but it just doesn't work that way, I guess. So it's been nice the past couple of days to not really pull out the cameras or anything like that, but back to that old grind. But that's how I know it's not for attention. I think sometimes people think like, oh, it's all for attention. And for some people, I'm sure it probably is. But for me, it's not. And I can say that confidently, and you can believe that or not. It's up to you. Don't really give a shit. But yeah. So let's get in the car. Alrighty. We got the car all loaded up. Got the bike on the roof. She shouldn't fall off. Also, I redid the pink on the bike. I never said that. I got rid of the middle part because it looked dumb. Put it there. Looks a little better. But I wanted something to have like some sort of accent and something to kind of make it more unique to me. So I think that's a little bit better. Honestly, I've been super lazy and just haven't really had the time, meaning I haven't really made it a priority. But I did it yesterday, so cool. Now let's get driving because now it's 4:30. So we made it. There's a big old, here, wait. I think, let me see if you can see. There's a big old line of cars behind me, and there's a big old line of cars in front of me. So we made it to the thing. I think the gate opens at 5:30. It's 5:27 right now. But it's kind of cool because this triathlon's like, or this race itself is like all the way, like there's St. Pete or whatever. So there's like this little thing that comes off, and then there's this whole little bit of islands that you have to take all these bridges to, and that's where the race is at, which is kind of cool. So we're like kind of out there on like a little island almost, which is pretty cool. I'm excited to drive through here in the daylight so I can see more, but my lease, this is just like a random thought, but my lease is ending in May where I'm currently at in Tampa, but I feel like St. Pete would be more my vibe. Seems like from what I hear, just more of a chill vibe. Tampa's cool and all and ambitious, but it's also filled with a lot of chachas, like myself included, but I don't want to necessarily be around all that stuff. So that's my thoughts. I don't really know where the hell I'm going to live in after May, but that's a thought I've had. So kind of cool, but right now what I'm doing is eating some dates. I had this Ghost energy drink. More so, it has 200 milligrams of caffeine, which is cool, but and I had coffee this morning. But the very main reason I want to drink that one, like the Ghost in specific, is it has like alpha GPC, and there's something else in here. Alpha GPC, I guess there's neurofactor. Mainly the alpha GPC, because it basically just gives like an Adderall effect, so it helps you focus. And sometimes I'll drink those before swims, and strategically before swims, because it helps me to focus with the swimming, because I feel like swimming takes so much focus with the technique and everything. So that's the reasoning for that, more so for that as opposed to the caffeine. Which for some people they'll say like, oh, 200 milligrams, that's so much caffeine. And I guess it is, but my background is all bodybuilding, where I would take pre-workouts that one scoop is like 350. Some have 400 milligrams in one scoop of caffeine. Or maybe one scoop's 200, so you're double scooping, so you're getting 400. So in my head, 200 still not a lot, although I guess to the average person, yes, it is a lot. And I have no idea how much caffeine's in the coffee I drink. I always do cold brew, and I think I make it pretty strong, so I don't really know how much is in it, but I pretty much drink that just about every morning. Some mornings I don't. Like there are days, like if I get enough sleep, a good amount of sleep, I'm like, I don't even need it, which is nice. Which is also interesting, because sometimes I'll be like, oh wow, I'm really reliant on that. But then if I sleep well, I'm like, I feel fine. I don't know. But yeah, so right now I'm just waiting. It's 5:30 now, so hopefully the line's gonna get moving. All right, everything's set up. I got a tattoo on my arm. I got belt. Bike is in transition. I have all my shit. In typical Florida fashion, it started downpouring for like 10 minutes, so everything just got very nicely wet, so which is awesome and annoying. 6:20 race starts at like 7 or 7:20 or something, so I got about an hour. I don't know really what I'm gonna do. You can't, but I don't know. So I'll see you after the race. Ooh, got the shades on because apparently I'm so fast. Just kidding, I'm slow as shit. But I ended up getting second overall, if I'm not mistaken. They did it like a time trial start, so I'm gonna take these off. I feel like it's too big. They did it like a time trial start, so it was like a rally car, which was cool. Except for I ended up starting with all like the 80-year-olds and not with kids my age, because there was some fucking super nice lady, but she just was stuck to my hip. She wouldn't shut the fuck up. She was like, oh, I'm getting divorced, I'm doing this, like, blah, blah, like all this stuff. I was like, lady, I don't give a shit. I was like, I don't really give a fuck. Yeah, so I ended up starting with all the 80-year-olds. But the beauty of that was I didn't get passed. I was just passing people all the time, which was fun. So it made it feel like I was going fast. I was like, I don't know if I'm going fast, but it'd have been cool if I was able to start with the kids my age, because I would have been neck and neck with the kid in first. My transitions were both like a minute and 33. His and the kid in the third were both like 40 seconds. So had I had faster transitions, I don't know that I would have won, because the kids, my 3-mile time was like ended up being like 18 minutes or 19 minutes or something, which honestly is kind of slow. And his was like 17, so he probably still would have beat me on the run, but I would have been, maybe I'd had more motivation had I seen the kid. But in my head the whole time I was like, I don't know where I'm at. I could be in last, I could be in first, I could be in second. But I wish I would have known towards the end, because then I would have pushed harder. Probably, maybe at least. But yeah, overall that was cool. I don't know if I said this, they canceled the swim though. I'm gonna do a race recap later, but they canceled the swim, which was pretty stupid. So they ended up doing, like, we started with like a 1K run, which is like a 0.6 mile run. But yeah, I'll do like a race recap later. I really gotta go to the bathroom right now. Oh, race recap. Race recap. Oh baby, super cool, super awesome. Got some milk and honey with some cinnamon in it. I had beef and rice just a minute ago. My stomach feels better because of that. So, race recap, sprint triathlon. So, supposed to be a 1/4 mile swim, 10-mile bike, and a 3-mile run. The swim got canceled. I'll get to that in a minute. But woke up at 3:30 this morning. Left the house around 4:20, 4:30. I say house, but it's an apartment. More so, a little room. But yeah, so had my stuff all ready yesterday, and then pretty much just woke up and then put it all together. It was about an hour drive to get there, 50 minutes. It was cool, like the location of where the race was at. It was on this like island called Fort DeSoto. I guess it's an island, but I feel like there's a specific name for those islands that are still attached to land, sort of, through like bridges and stuff, but they're like right next to the St. Pete or whatever. I don't know. You don't really notice that when you're out there necessarily, but the idea of it was cool, so I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. This is cool. Maybe it's just because I'm a Midwest boy. But yeah, so we got out there. It was dark. The weather was fine. It rained for a second on my drive there, but it's like Florida, so it might be raining in one spot, but then 10 feet to the right, it's not raining. Or it rains, but it's going to be done in like 10 minutes type of deal. So you're kind of like, well, superficial probably. And it, for the most part, was. So then we got there, got set up and everything. Well, as we were getting set up in like the transition area, it started downpouring for 5-10 minutes. So then you're kind of, well, that was just annoying because everything got wet and stuff that I wasn't even trying to get wet or like shouldn't have gotten dirty got all freaking wet and dirty. All my bags. I was like, what the fuck? But so yeah, so you're kind of setting stuff up. It's getting rain down. You're kind of like, well, whatever. Can't really do much about it. But then they're talking about canceling the swim because apparently the water. And then they're like, oh, no, it's good to go. The lifeguard said, should be good. It's choppy, but we should be good. But then the race director was like, no. So then they did cancel the swim, which was not cool. So then I went from a quarter mile run, or a quarter mile swim to a 1 kilometer run. So that's like 0.6 of a mile. I don't know what I actually averaged. I can look right now. I don't know what I averaged for my time for that little 0.71 is what my watch says. It said I averaged a 5:50 pace. That's honestly so slow. It says effort moderate. Yeah, I think by runs, well, I don't know. Starting out that first little run, I didn't warm up at all because it got very disorganized once they were canceling swims and like moving all the stuff around. The start was weird because there's a sprint triathlon, there's some buoy bike water race fucking thing, and there's also an international distance triathlon going on as well. So, but everyone was starting at the same start line, but all different start times, and then they're doing a time trial start, so it's one person at a time. So it was just all confusing and stuff was all over the place. Everyone was pretty confused, to be honest. So I didn't warm up at all. So kind of that 0.7 mile run was the warm up. So honestly, when I first started running, I was like, why? It just felt so weird. I was like, why do I feel so weird running right now? But yeah, so we adjusted to that. I was disappointed because I was definitely going to be, I was at more of an advantage with the swim being canceled because swimming's my weakest link. But I was kind of excited about that because I was like, okay, well, one, the swim's not that long, so the gap that can be built upon me shouldn't be crazy big. And then two, well, one, I'm going to just try hard in the swim, and then two, I'm confident enough on the bike to where I was like, it's 10 miles. I know my body well. I know I can push myself pretty hard. And then going into a 3 mile run, I'm not super worried about it. So I was like, I can push pretty hard on the bike, and 10 miles really isn't that long of a time period on the bike either. Ended up being like 24 minutes. So it's not like a huge amount of time to like catch someone, say you had like a massive gap, but I was like, I'm confident that I could catch people. But that wasn't the case, and I was a little disappointed about that. But yeah, so we started the race, did the running start, they did time trials, so they went by age group. So then the youngest to oldest started, and that's how that went, except for I completely missed my age group because, so I started running with like 80-year-old, 70-year-old dudes, which really wasn't a big deal, but the reason I missed my freaking age group, and the kid that got first was in my age group, I think. If not, he was like right above or below me. But I would have been able to run with him, and then I could have known like, all right, this kid is in first. And then specifically on the run, because I beat his ass on the bike. But both the runs, I guess, because I think he ran faster, that 0.7. But both the runs, I don't think I would have beat him, to be honest. Especially on the 3 miles, because mine, I was a little disappointed with my 3 mile time, I'm not going to lie. Both my runs I'm disappointed with. But I don't think I would have beat him, but I probably could have pushed myself a little bit harder had I seen him in my sights. But yeah, I missed the frickin' my age group start time, not time, but just call out, because this fucking lady, she was being nice, but she just wouldn't shut the fuck up. And what I mean by that is she came up to me in the transition area 2 separate times and kept talking to me. And those 2 times I was like, oh, that's fine. Like, she walked up to me first about this gels, because she was like, oh, you have the same gels as me. I was like, yeah, I do. I don't know, she's trying to hit on me or what, but she was nice. I was talking to her, and then she was confused about the gel stuff, and I was like, how many do you have? She was like, just 1. And then I was like, well, assuming you ate this morning, just take it on the bike, because she was asking me when to take it. I'm going to take half now. I was like, what? She's talking about taking half at one point and then taking half later. I was like, sure. I don't fucking know. But I don't know. And then kept talking, and then I lost her ass. At that point, I wasn't trying to, because I was like, oh, she's just being nice or whatever. But then when we were standing there by the start line, like, everyone's kind of confused, she finds my ass again, and then she just keeps talking about all this crap. And then she's like, oh, I'm getting divorced and all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, all right, get away from me. I don't need this drama. I don't need any of this shit in my life. I was like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Because at that point, she was trying to see if I don't fucking know. But yeah, so I missed my age group, and I was like, what the fuck? By the time I realized, I was like, god damn it. But it was fine, because I started with all the 70, 80-year-old dudes, and then the entire race I was just passing people like crazy. From the start to the finish, I was just passing people. So that was fun. So yeah, we started with that little run, and then it's passing people. And I don't know, one dude was like, age group. So I don't know if he was mad at me, or if he was like, because there was another dude next to him. So I don't know if they said something like, why is this kid going so fast? And then they're like, age group or something. I don't really know. But he just yelled out, age group, as I ran past him. So I don't know what the fuck that means, but I'm going to keep going, old man. And then, yeah, so honestly that run part was like the warm-up. It was pretty stupid. And then went into the transition area, hopped on my bike, which, milk time, which that was cool. I honestly, my transitions were slow, but it was because of my watch. Because honestly, the process to get my shoes on and off didn't take too long. Everything was wet, which was obnoxious, but I think the biggest thing was my watch, because I'm trying to fumble with the screen that's all wet and it doesn't work. So that was a little obnoxious, but I was able to get it, and then hopped on the bike, and then immediately I'm like, all right, this bitch is only 10 miles. Now again, it is wet. At that point it wasn't raining anymore, but it is wet, so your brakes, at least the brakes, maybe if for the people that have disc brakes on their bike, they worked better, but with these carbon wheels, like when they're wet, like they're basically useless. You have to start braking. I was just being aware, like I knew that my brakes don't work when it's wet, so when you first start, there's a couple turns you have to make, so I was like, alright, I can't go too fast yet because I can't stop. I was kind of holding the brakes down just to try and get some heat on the pads and the wheel and dry up some of the water, so that way when I did really have to brake, I could, going into those little turns. But in general, though, the race is like pretty much straight, and there's like a big curve, but nothing you had to like brake for. So yeah, and then once we got to that, it was passing motherfuckers like crazy. Passing motherfuckers like crazy. I like the biking because I like Formula One, and I used to do karting, like go-karting in these leagues, which is something I want to get back to doing once I, one, have the funds for it, and two, have the time for it. I want to get back into doing that, but that's what the bike reminds me of, is karting and like Formula One. So when I'm coming up behind people, I'm drafting, which is an actual thing with biking, to draft, catch their like slipstream, and then you don't essentially have to work as hard to go as fast as they are. So doing that, coming up behind people, and then you're like, and go around, and then get back in, and then just kept doing that, and then the road was super bumpy the entire time. So that was a little bit obnoxious. You don't, during like the race though, it's kind of like, you don't even totally, no, you notice it, but you're not super worried about it. If it was like a training ride or something, I'd probably been a lot more annoyed by it. And then you're also like, okay, this is only 10 miles, so it's not the end of the world. That being said though, I was kind of worried. I was like, well, hopefully I don't get a flat tire. I said on my Instagram story, I have these gator skin tires, and they're really good for not getting flats. Knock on wood. But I think I saw only one dude get a flat tire. But I feel like the tires I have on my road bike, I can't even count on my 2 hands how many times I've gotten flat tires with those tires. So like, say I had tires like that, I almost guarantee I probably would have got a flat tire, to be honest. But I didn't, so that was cool. I was also like, hopefully my chain doesn't pop off, because again, it was pretty bumpy. So yeah, so passed some motherfuckers like crazy. And then there's 2 dudes next to me in the transition. They were like, it was their first triathlon too, so I was talking to them. And they started within my age group. So then when I was coming on the bike, it's just like a 5 out and then loop around and then you come back. So there's like a U-turn in the back. I saw them coming at me and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to catch them. Which little did I know, I was just catching fucking everybody. But I caught them within probably a couple of minutes of seeing them. So then come to the U-turn, caught up, and then I was like, let's go! So that was fun. And then yeah, just kept pushing. My heart rate, I looked at my heart rate towards the end of the bike and it said 180. I was like, hey-oh. But again, I was like, it wasn't crazy hot, and I was like, I just pushed myself. And that's kind of how those shorter distances go. It's like you're kind of just on the limit the entire time. So that is what I did. And then we came in, and I knew I was making up ground. But the thing that kind of sucked was like, since I started so far in the back, it probably looked like, looks-wise, because I can't tell where I'm at position-wise, and then from the outside, they're probably like, well, he's pretty far back, so like he's probably not in a very good position. So that part was like, I don't know where I'm at in relation to anything. Now, I was kind of leveraging that situation to say like, I don't know where I'm at, so 3rd place or 2nd place or even 1st place could be right in front of me. Because again, it's a time trial start, so even if the dude in front of me starts and I'm running side by side with him, technically I'm ahead of him because I started behind him. But yeah, so you're just kind of like, I don't really know where I'm at, but then leveraging that thought to be more motivation, to be like, well, I don't know where I'm at. I could be right on the brink of another place. So I was kind of thinking like that in my head. And then, yeah, it was also funny on the bike passing people that they just have like, I mean, the amount of money you can spend on these bikes is crazy. And you can pass them, or passing them and looking at some people's bikes, I'm like, that's big money bike right there. And then I'm like, fuck you. Not really fuck you, but more so in my head, it's just like, yeah, bitch. On my 2014, which this is still a nice bike. But just seeing like those newer ones, and you're like, yeah, fuck you. Which also leads me to think like, how big of a difference is it to have a bike like that in terms of your efficiency and speed and power and everything? So I'm like, dang, I wish I could have one of those bikes. So I'm a little bit jealous too. But nonetheless, again, I was kind of using that as motivation too, to be like, fuck you on your new fancy bike. Nothing against those people, it was just something in the moment to leverage as motivation. But yeah, so then we hopped off the bike, and then that went well. Into the transition zone. I didn't even think, I wanted to do the little flying dismount where you like undo your shoes and then take them off, but honestly I didn't even think about it until there's like the very end when I'm kind of already braking, and I was like, oh shit, I was supposed to undo my shoes. So then I just didn't even do that, but it really didn't matter because my shoes are just Velcro and they just slip off really quick. And then threw on the runners. The start of the run was a little bit, it's not, I guess, rough a little bit. I don't know, you're just so out of breath still from the bike. I wasn't even out of breath, it's just my heart rate was so high coming off of the bike. Then right into the run. Kind of like settling into that a little bit. But overall, the run felt good. My stomach didn't hurt or anything. I didn't shit in the morning. I didn't go to the bathroom in the morning, which is always an issue if I'm going to go run, because then my stomach gets messed up. And that's exactly what happened afterwards, though. So it didn't hurt during, but afterwards, my stomach hurt. It still kind of hurts right now. But that's just because I didn't go to the bathroom beforehand. But I didn't have the, literally didn't have to. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? But yeah, so the run was fine. I, again, was continuing to just pass people on the run, which was fun. And then one dude I passed, well, I was also giving people thumbs up because they do the turnaround on the bike and on the run. And I was giving people thumbs up like, let's go, atta baby, atta boy, atta, get it, like whatever. Just like little shit like that as I was going past people because I guess it's nice for them, but it's nice for me too because it gives me a boost for whatever reason to be like, woo, let's go. As I'm passing them though. You don't want to show no weakness. Like one thing with all the pro triathletes, like when you pass someone on the bike, you don't want to sound like you're struggling or look like you're struggling. You want to look strong and solid. So then they look at you and like, oh shit, this guy is in so much better shape than I am. Now it wasn't really my intention when I was passing people because I straight up was just going faster than them, period. So I had to pass them regardless, but just being like, yeah, let's go. But then one dude was like, I fucking suck. I suck. If I was running like you, maybe. And I was like, no, you don't. I was like, no, you don't. And he was like, maybe if I was running like you. Whatever. I don't know. It was pretty funny. He was like an older guy. He was pretty jacked, too, to be honest. Yeah, he was really shitting on himself. And I was like, hey, fix that mindset, pal. I said, you're going to suck. You suck if you believe you suck. I didn't say that, but it's what I wanted to say. I don't really know what the hell I said. I was like, no, you don't. Keep going. Keep going, pussy. And then, yeah, so then turned around, mile and a half out. I didn't get my watch going until a little bit into the run, so my watch wasn't necessarily accurate. But I did just want to see what my mile splits were, or what my like average pace was, or my projected mile pace was. But yeah, I think I averaged a 6. Let's see. I averaged a 6:16 mile for 3 miles. I'm pretty disappointed with that, I'm not going to lie. Now I think the biggest thing is just because I pushed pretty hard on the bike. I guess I'm just not fit enough to do that and go run 3 miles. But I was kind of hoping I'd run like a high 5 per mile, like a 5:50 something. But I didn't do that, so whatever. I will say we were running through a lot of puddles, so our shoes are all soaking wet, which really isn't much of an excuse, but I guess it's something. But I think the biggest thing was just probably pushing too hard on the bike. But whatever. One of the things I did do on the bike too was muscling the pedaling sort of at the start where I'm literally just using my quads. But I have to remind myself to pull too. That's the whole point of having clip-in pedals. So as you're pushing, you're pulling up, and it makes it easier on the push. And then and in turn, it makes it easier on the pull. So it's like you get in this motion. So I had to keep reminding myself to do that and not just burn out my quads. But when I do that too, I notice like, oh, I'm going faster when I do the pull push idea. So yeah, so I kept kind of trying to remind myself of that because at the start I wasn't doing that at all. I was just straight up quads. But yeah, and then came into the finish, and then yeah, I finished like not like further back, but I don't even know where I finished in relation to anybody else. But you're kind of like, cool. Like, it was just very uneventful. There's some people around and stuff, but then you're like, awesome. I just wish I could have ran with that kid that got first, because then it would have actually been fun. Like, to have kind of challenged each other a little bit. Again, that being said, though, I wouldn't have beaten him, because he ran like a 17 something. Like a high 17, I think. I'd have to look again, but... so could I have actually beaten him? Probably not. But again, if I saw him, I probably could have pushed myself a little bit to where I could have got closer to him. Because I think I ran like a 19... I don't know if I ran a 19.0 something or a 19-teen something. But maybe I could have got it to like a high 18. Just having seen the kid in my sights. But yeah, again, I'm not very happy with that 3-mile run. Really at all. Because then I'm thinking about in high school when we'd run 3 miles. I think the fastest I ever ran was like a 16:40 or 50 something. Obviously, I'm not going to necessarily be able to do that off the bike with my current conditioning at some point, sure. But also, I'm not training for sprint triathlons, so there's that too. And another thing is I need to do more speed work as well, implement that into my training. Because I feel like that's my biggest weak point in like everything. I'm not a super like, as much as I am, I'm not like a very quick person. Never been like super fast at sprinting or anything like that. I'm more of like an endurance, grinded out type of dude. So like with power, I'm sure maybe I can push some power. I can't really like push a lot of power, but push power, but do it slower as opposed to doing like a faster cadence or maybe a little bit of a lower power. But that's kind of, so that's why I think speed work is so important for me, especially keeping in mind like I still want to run a sub 3-hour marathon before the end of this year. But yeah, so I think speed work's definitely something I need to start doing again now that my knee, this one, is allowing for it, I think. But yeah, overall race recap, legit. Second overall, I don't know if I said that. My overall time was like 51 minutes and 8 seconds. I don't really know. I feel like that doesn't really mean shit because the swim was canceled and two, it's like a sprint triathlon, so who really gives a crap? Yeah, I don't know. I just wish that swim didn't get canceled because now it just kind of feels like you're like, well, I was like fun with the transitions. It was fun after when you're on the bike and stuff, but you're still just like, you just kind of in your head, you're like, this doesn't count. This is what it felt like to me. I'm like, this doesn't really count. But yeah, this clip's 23 minutes long. My yapping ass could probably talk for another hour. But overall, it was fun. That was cool. I'm glad I signed up for it though. It was a good time. I saw another dude out there with my same bike. His was set up a lot nicer than mine is. But nonetheless, I still beat his ass, so who cares? But yeah, on my Chinese wheels. When I brought my bike into a bike shop when I first got it to get it tuned up, I was like, I just like briefly was like, I don't really know what brand wheels those are. And the guy was like, cheap Chinese ones. And he said it exactly like that, as if it was like, I don't know. I was like, sorry, buddy. Sorry, they're cheap Chinese wheels, you little freaking frickhead. They get the job done, apparently. But I would like to get some new wheels if I could. The wheels, anything for the bike, especially if you're like if I want to get carbon wheels, like they're expensive to get, like even real ones. Even used, they're like $500-$600. I don't particularly want to do that. What I am thinking though is I could keep these wheels like with these gator skins on there for training stuff, and then get like a nicer set, still used with like a nicer set with a faster tire on there that I can swap out when I want to. That could be nice and or would be nice. But I say that, I don't know that I'm really ever going to do that, at least not in the near future, unless some sort of cool thing happens where I start making more money per month. BPN sponsor me or something like that, or some company. Let's work together, because I'm not going anywhere, baby. We ain't going nowhere. We're just getting fucking started, which is the best part about it all. I enjoy this stuff. This stuff's really fun. I do enjoy this stuff, but I didn't post a reel yesterday, which was Saturday, and today's Sunday. I'm not posting a reel either. I posted like some carousel shit from the race, but it's honestly been nice as shit not filming stuff for Instagram reels, and as an effect of that, I'm not on my phone as much. Like yesterday, I feel like I wasn't on my phone at all, which is great. It's amazing. But then I'm like, all right, like I want to try to build some sort of career kind of life path, or start some foundation to some sort of life path out of all this stuff that I'm doing. And a requirement of that is to film it and to show it all and to have to be on my phone a lot more than I would like. That being said though, again, it was still nice to not do it the past couple of days, but back to the old daily reel grind, even though it'll just be 2 days off. And in the past, like, I wouldn't have allowed myself to do that because I would have been like, oh my God, everything's going to come crumbling down. But it's not. And no one even notices, I guarantee you. And even if they do, it's like, fine. I don't know. But like no one notices those things. But yeah, we ain't going nowhere. We're just getting started. This was just a fun little thing to do. But back to normal training tomorrow. Actually, no. My plan is to actually go on the bike later today, assuming it's kind of getting sunny out now. I need to do some grocery shopping and some little things, but plan is to just do like an easy ride, 20 to 30 miles on the bike later today. But in general, I'll go back to normal training tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll have a swim of some varying length. But yeah, cool, awesome, amazing. Have a great day.